A victory for Sean Diddy Combs, the mogul who prosecutors accuse of running a decades-long sex trafficking ring, acquitted of 3 of 5 charges against him, including the most serious, racketeering and sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. That means he dodged a life sentence.
No respect to all y'all diminished for 20 minutes until we finish.
I think that the biggest obstacle for the prosecution is to show this distinction between it being an actual criminal enterprise as opposed to it just being an exotic lifestyle of Diddy.
Ain't no stopping us now. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
But he's not a free man just yet. A jury issued 2 convictions on charges related to prostitution. Each of those carry a max of 10 years behind bars. Sentencing will happen at a later date.
Bad boy for life.
Back with another one. Diddy was just found guilty of 2 charges out of the 5 or 6. The main one, he wasn't found guilty. So it looks like Diddy will be coming home soon. 2 of the charges, I think it was like a transportation for prostitution or something like that. They hold up to like 10 years apiece. I doubt if he gonna get 10 years apiece for either one of them. I doubt if he get 10. You know, I got a good feeling that he might, if anything, you know, get a couple years, probably get hit with some time served, but then he'll be back free. You know, a lot of people has been talking crazy about Diddy online. I feel sorry for those who supposed to be his friend or his people, and you know, they wasn't supporting him or, you know, making content about the situation. I don't care. I don't know Diddy personally, you feel me? My stance still what it is. Diddy a freak, you know, but you can't take a man, you know what I'm saying? You can't hit a man with a Rico for being a freak and what he want to do in his bedroom. I had initially like started following the case, but once I heard a couple witnesses on the stands, you know what I'm saying, these key or these star witnesses, and I heard them get on the stand, it wasn't sounding right. It was sounding like everybody was participating, you know. Sound like that was the trade-off for the lifestyle they was living, you know, on some swingerish type stuff. You know, we all still think Diddy, you know, weirdo kind of funny style for wanting to see somebody hit his girl, or, you know, whatever you want to call them females. You know, 50 Cent baby mom was in the mix. She still got on the stand, say she still loved them and all type of other stuff. A lot of people been saying Cassie got a good husband, you know, for him to be strong and go through that. Man, let's keep it all the way a buck. If she wasn't 20, 30 million up due to the situation and the name and the fame that came with it, I don't think Buddy would have been sitting there through that. You know what I'm saying? He chasing the bag just like anybody else was. He was just a personal trainer. You get what I'm saying? And if I'm mistaken, I think they used to call him on the phone sometimes while her and Diddy was doing it on FaceTime so he could see. So, you know, he going for anything. That's why he popping all them kids in there, because if this go left, he gonna get some alimony or whatever he gonna get up out of her. So all the females and oh, Cassie got a husband like that. Wish I had a husband like that. Man, that man a sack chase. He worse than a female. But Diddy has been found guilty only on 2 of the 5 charges. The worst charges that he could have been found guilty on, he didn't get found guilty on it. So it's a win for him, his family, and, you know, all his supporters and all that stuff like that. Like I said, the charges that he has been found guilty on, maximum, they hold up to 10 years apiece. Do I think he gonna get that? Nah. Like I said, at worst, they'll give him 5 years. At worst, my opinion, you know what I'm saying? It's not facts, it's not none of that, just my opinion. They might, you know what I'm saying? Give him 5, they're not gonna get that boy 10. You get what I'm saying? They ain't gonna get that man 10 for what? The racketeering charges is what they needed to give him, whatever time they want to give him. You know what I mean? And he beat those. Also, he beat the, I forgot the other 2. They was worse than the transportation of the prostitution charge, whatever. So, you know, I guess shout out to him and his people. Don't nobody want to see nobody locked up, you know what I mean? Especially not for being a freak, you know what I mean? That's all he was, just a freak. And everybody been knowing and hearing about them Diddy parties, man, since I was a little kid. They used to say them Diddy parties was, you know what I'm saying, on some different timing, you know what I mean? You know, 50 Cent has been saying it for a very long time. Y'all already know the ultimate troll, man, but I'm gonna play this little clip, man, from a couple news clips and, you know, outlets that had something to say or spoke on the situation, and we'll get back and commentate.
I understand, Aaron, a statement has been given on behalf of Cassie Ventura, star witness in this case. What are you learning?
Her attorney, Doug Wigdor, just sent us the following statement. This entire criminal process started when our client, Cassie Ventura, had the courage to file her civil complaint in November 2023. And Kira, we should say that's true. The criminal investigation is largely based on the statements in Cassie Ventura's lawsuit, and intensified, of course, once video from the 2016 hotel security camera became public. The statement from Doug Wigdor, her attorney, goes on to say, although the jury did not find Combs guilty of sex trafficking Cassie beyond a reasonable doubt, she paved the way for a jury to find him guilty of transportation to engage in prostitution. By coming forward with her experience, Cassie's attorney, Doug Wigdor, goes on to say, Cassie has left an indelible mark on both the entertainment industry and the fight for justice. We must repeat with no reservation that we believe and support our client, who showed exemplary courage throughout this trial. She testified for 4 days, often quite emotionally so, giving graphic, explicit detail of what she said she was made to do. And Sean Combs did not deny the facts of the freak-offs. Everything that happened in those hotel rooms did not get challenged by the defense. The defense simply saw it differently, as something that went on in a personal, consensual relationship, not sex trafficking. And that's how the outcome is reflected now, Kira.
Bernardo, I want to go on to read another part of that statement on behalf of Cassie Ventura's attorney, saying she displayed unquestionable strength and brought attention to the realities of powerful men in our orbit and the misconduct that has persisted for decades without repercussion. This case proved that change is long overdue, and we will continue to fight on behalf of survivors. Two things that stood out to me: powerful men in our orbit and the misconduct that persists, and change that is long overdue. Your thoughts?
Power and money. You can buy yourself out of a conviction.
Yeah, so y'all heard, you know, a little piece from a news outlet speaking on the situation. Basically, her lawyers or her team, Cassie, they saying that if it wasn't for her, this case would have never came about. She was strong about the situation. And you can kind of look at that both ways. Because if you follow the trial just a little bit, you'll see like it was a lot of little back and forth things going on. You know what I mean? Like, you know, he get jealous, she get jealous, you know what I'm saying? He be toxic, she get toxic, like, you know, and then drugs is involved, you know, then, you know, Diddy messing with this woman, that woman, you know, she doing her thing on the side, man. You know, I think it was just a messy relationship that hit the fan. Everything came out that they was doing, you know, Diddy knew that it was gonna be a hit to his image or, you know, who he is as a person once videos got out there and once she said she was gonna speak about it. That's why he cashed her out. I think like the day after she went public or brought it out, he went, cashed her out, tore her off real smooth, you know what I'm saying? Besides that, you know, I got to disagree with the lady a little bit at the end when she said something about money and power can buy yourself out of conviction. I think that's the reason why people, you know, get money, save money, just in case, you know, they get into a certain situation, man, so they don't go in them courtrooms blind. You know what I'm saying? Like what y'all wanted a man to do, to go in there with a public pretender, public defender. Y'all wanted him to go in there with that. Nah, if I'm a $1 billion dude, yeah, I'm going in there with the best team. It's possible. You know, my life on the line. You dig what I'm saying? Like that Rico, they can give you 30 years and not even bat an eye at you. Don't care what you done did for the community, who you done donated to, how much money you got. They give you 30 years of life and throw away the key. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta disagree with her a little bit on that, because from what I, heard, the feds can't be bought. You know what I mean? From what I heard. Not saying that it doesn't happen, but I just think in this situation, it just didn't play out how people thought it was. Like the men that he was dealing with, I don't even remember half them dudes' name. You know what I'm saying? Niggas had wild name, Bone Crusher, and you know what I'm saying? Wolverine and all type of, niggas had some weird names, whatever. But them people was getting on the stand because they got pressed up on by them people, and them people like, look, if you don't testify against this dude or say this or say that, you know what I mean? Basically get on this stand, we can lock you up for this, or we can charge you with this, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of, once you throw that at people who ain't never been to jail, who don't want no criminal stuff on their background, they gonna get up on the stand. But a lot of people on the stand didn't get up there and, basically said that he forced anybody to do anything. You get what I'm saying? Like, some of them said that in the beginning they didn't even know it was him. He was in there masked up and all type of stuff. And then, a lot of the times he wasn't even giving out the payments. You feel me? Like, it was the females, the Cassies and the, I forgot 50 Cent baby mom name. I'm gonna stop calling her 50 Cent baby mom. Just, she was calling herself Jane, you know what I'm saying? They was making the payments and sending some Zelles. A couple times Diddy got a little too comfortable and was passing off the cake, you know what I'm saying? He on them drugs and he hot, you know what I'm saying? So, but nobody really got on the stand and said they was forced to do anything for the most part, man. Most people say they either enjoyed themselves or, sometimes they couldn't perform because he was sitting right there in the room. You feel me? So, it is what it is when it comes to that, man. More than anything, he beat the worst charges in this indictment, and that's that Rico and that sex trafficking and humans, that human trafficking and sex, like he beat them. So really, it has to be a win. You know what I mean? His family, they outside the courtroom celebrating and stuff like that, which I don't knock them. When your dad or your parent, or if you are a parent and you the breadwinner of the family, or you hold, you hold a family together and you keep your household straight, and probably all your people, they don't want to see you locked up. That's something tough to go through, and you know what I'm saying? And it's hard to deal with. His kids definitely seen a lot of stuff in the media. He got 2 twin daughters, if I'm not mistaken. I think they might have only went to court when it first started, and then they kept them 2 out the courtroom during the trial, so they didn't have to be privy to the bull, to the the freak stuff. You know what I'm saying? He do them are his daughters. So, but overall, his family take that as a W. You know what I'm saying? I feel like cause right now Diddy's going for a bond or trying to get out. You know what I mean? Until they sentence him or whatever, and sometimes sentencing can take a minute, you know what I mean? So he's trying to get a bond. I'm not sure if they're gonna grant it. I think it was a timetable for today that they were supposed to get back to the courtroom and let them know about that situation. The time limit has passed, so we probably won't hear nothing else about that. Maybe tomorrow, or if they deny the bond or whatever, he just have to sit till he gets sentenced. And I know he probably gonna press for that. Hurry up and sentence me, just you know what I mean? Because he might walk free. You know what I'm saying? I've engaged with time served, but like I said, me personally, on this channel, maybe 3 years, maybe 5 years, you know what I'm saying? A year and a day with an ankle monitor after this and stuff like that, with a couple stay away orders and all type of stuff like that. It's probation. But other than that, man, it's a win-win situation for Diddy, man, because one thing he do know is it's going to be a day that he get out. You know what I'm saying? Even though he's in his 50s, 10 years will be a strain on him, but that's better than life, you know what I'm saying? Which he could possibly appeal that in them 10 years, go back in front of that judge and get time served, time lessening. So it's just a win-win for him overall, man. But I don't think he gonna do nothing past 5 years. You know what I mean? If, like I said, at worst, it would be 5 years. You know what I'm saying? And, shit, he might be walking out them gates next time, you know what I'm saying? We hear an update on the situation, man. But just want to tap in real quick on the Diddy situation. I didn't really cover that. I spoke on it maybe once or twice on this channel. Really didn't care to entertain it, man. You know what I mean? Grown people doing grown things. You know, yes, it's a little freaky, that's it, you know, but that ain't got nothing to do with us, for real. That's him, you know what I mean? It wasn't like these women was underage, you know what I mean? They was, you know, willing participants, you know what I mean? But what we have seen is, you know, his so-called people ain't rock with him through this, so when Diddy get out, he might get to tripping and, you know, pressing lines about certain things like, man, listen, block this deal, don't let him come here, don't let him do this. So, you know, for those who ain't been, you know what I'm saying, front line for their mans while he was going through that, and I see how that play out for y'all, you know what I mean? But until next time, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, man, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.